Do you like explosions? Do you like finishing your missions in record time? We'll watch these next few clips and I'll show you how to clear a railjack mission in under 3 minutes. Explosions included for free. Hello everyone and welcome. My name is xSlamFox and today I want to show you the fastest, most busted affinity farm for railjack that's out right now. With this affinity farm, you can probably expect to max out all of your intrinsics in less than a week. It is also absurdly good at just generating passive focus for leveling out your weapons that you formed. So throw on your Smetica Vat, grab an affinity booster, and I'll show you how to get it done on the double. We started off in the dojo here, so I'm going to go ahead and fast travel to our dry dock. This is where you're going to be starting the missions if you're unfamiliar with railjack. This console right here is basically your railjack arsenal. When you open it up, you can change out your equipment and your weapons. And today we're going to be using Tether. So right now you can take a look at my shield, my engines, my reactor. The only really important thing is having a good amount of flux and a pretty decent avionics. Your primary weapon here is the most important. You absolutely need to use the Carcinox or the Pulsor. But you can use anything you want on the side guns of the missile launcher. Now the staple and most important piece of this build is going to be the Tether mod, which is one of your battle avionics. Tether was recently buffed to deal 3,000 damage in a 120 meter radius. Other than that, there's just a couple of small tweaks that'll really help your ship out. The Battleforge mod will really help out on your flux and your dome charges. Right here you can see I'm using a brand new mod called Artillery Cheap Shot. This isn't mandatory, but it'll really help you on saving you some time on your dome charges. Other than that, it's not mandatory, but forward artillery is really killer for just blowing up ships in one hit if you miss a side engine or a back engine. And just to flaunt it because I got it, I have 10 intrinsics and everything. Obviously I use this farm for most of it. It's really good and it'll help you go really fast. So with that out of the way, I'm just going to cover a little bit of the footage and how to actually do the farm. So we're starting up here on a fresh mission, and right away you can just see how busted Tether is right now. They've recently reworked it so that it deals a ton more damage, and the radius is just insane on this. You can pretty much just point it and shoot it anywhere and just blow up an entire fleet of enemies. But you do have to actually shoot the bomb. I go after one of the cruise ships really fast here just because I'm waiting for more fighters to spawn. And you can see I've cleared 20 or 30 fighters in less than a couple seconds. So the key idea is to throw out a tether and shoot it after it's linked up a bunch of enemies. The best way to do this is just to aim a little bit below or to the side of the enemies and then shoot your tether. There are a couple side roles for this mission. You can go out as a collector. Obviously this role is really just mind-numbingly boring. You just run around, fly around, pick up mods. Some argue that it's helpful to have this. I think it's just a waste of time. Everybody should stay in the ship because it makes fighters clump together better. And honestly, you shouldn't have too much trouble picking anything up. This is the forward artillery role. It's really lazy, but totally mandatory. You need to have a forward artillery on your ship so that you can take out the cruise ships in one shot. The forward artillery is right behind the pilot seat, and basically you just wait for your pilot to shove you into a cruise ship, and then you just blow it up. Right here is some outstanding footage of that. You just aim and fire. A key thing to note when you're doing this, hitting the side or rear engine is the most critical point, and it will almost always result in a one-shot if you aim right. Some of the ships in these missions are Scald ships, and these ones have shields around them, so wait for a missile to take off the shield battery before you fire. Another super easy but totally mandatory job for this farm is Engineer. This part of the ship is the forges, and it's where you make flux and dome charges. Do not refine your resources at the end of the mission because this just slows you down. Right here you can see me using the Battleforge mod in action. To do that, just hit the L button and go ahead and click it on the left. Your job is basically to just make more flux and dome charges for the people who are doing the actual work. So yeah, just chill out. Right here I'm just going to show off some of the mission rewards. This is a super rare one, the Rush Repair Drone. It lets you build anything instantly and without the resources. Over the course of this farm, you're going to be getting a ton of resources in massive caches. We're talking about the thousands of resources caches. Your pilot is also going to pick up so many mods that you won't have any use for them. I probably have thousands of these mods just sitting in the bank. The rare ones are less than a 1% drop, so sometimes you get lucky. But mostly you get pretty much the useless trash that you have too much of anyway. In this next clip, you can see that you actually kill stuff so fast that you just leave piles of loot everywhere around the map. This is really annoying, DE, and you should totally fix it so that we don't have to fly around the map and just pick up our shit that we've earned. But yeah, that's pretty much the consequence of going at this speed. You can take the extra 20-30 seconds to pick up anything your pilot might have missed. You can see here I just have such an endless amount of mods that I don't really care. I'll try to pick up what I can, but if I miss something, oh well. The mission that you want to be farming for this is Geon Point. It very consistently spawns exactly 6 cruise ships and somewhere between 65 and 91 fighters. So these fighters are the main source of your affinity. So basically you just run Geon Point over and over again, blow up as many fighters as you can, and blow up the cruise ships at the end, and then just start a new one and just keep looping. Right here you can see a little bit of unedited footage on what a pilot should be doing. They basically just fly around in circles, kill every single fighter you can. Prioritize fighters before cruise ships because new fighters won't spawn unless there are 0 fighters on the map. This can be mildly annoying because you'll see in a couple clips here or there, like a cruise ship will spawn, or you'll miss a couple fighters here and there. Make sure you absolutely clear out every single fighter you can to make sure that more keep spawning. Other than that, your job's pretty easy. You just fly directly up to cruise ships. Definitely knock off that shield battery if it's got one, and then just shove yourself in the face of it and let the forward artillery blow it up. Other than that, it's pretty much just rinse and repeat. Grab as many fighters as you can. Try to throw the tether relatively close to them. This is a very important step here, is making sure that you take those shields off of the Scold cruise ships, because otherwise your dome charge will just flash into nothing and be wasted. This is the part of the video where I'm just going to go over why the artillery cheap shot is almost necessary. Like, definitely really good if you can get one in there. Not totally necessary, but really, really good to have it. You use a ton of flux over the course of doing this. Every single time you throw out that tether, it's using 25 flux. And this flux regeneration takes a little bit of time, and it makes it kind of hard for them to keep dome charges and flux in stock. So taking out as many ships with as few consumed dome charges is really going to be a key here on the speed of your progression. So this farm really requires a minimum of 3 people. Obviously you can find a squad for it and looking for group, but for it to stay efficient and fast flowing, you really need a pilot, a forward artillery, and an engineer, just to make sure the flux keeps pumping, the pilot's clearing out the fighters, and you don't have to swap back and forth for the forward artillery. If you follow all these steps, you can see here that this mission was finished in just under 3 minutes. I think it was around 2 minutes and 30 seconds on the timer. So yeah, have a good time and just enjoy that affinity.